My name is Rodney Warner, and I'm a freelance writer. I write mostly for lawyers and law firms. I've been doing that for about 7 years. I practiced law for about 16 years, and this PowerPoint talks about conversion optimization, which is about making the most success out of whatever website visitors you have. Website optimization is about efficiency. Its focus is getting the most out of your website visitors. So you could be getting a tremendous amount of visitors each month, but if you're only getting a handful of clients out of these folks, then are you wasting your time and money with this website? Now, if you want to try to double the amount of clients, you could try to double the number of visitors, but how much is that going to cost you? Instead of taking that route, maybe you should try to double the amount of clients from your existing website traffic. That being said, I'm going to deviate a little and suggest that maybe with a little time and effort, you might be able to increase that funnel of people that are coming to your website by improving the content. I mean, what is getting visitors to your website? What is a web page's meta description? Could that be improved on so when it's seen by people doing searches that it'll make the website more enticing? Your email blasts, could they be improved on? Are your videos and podcasts sound professionally produced? How good are your social media posts? If you write press releases and distribute them, could they be written in a more effective way? All this material, can might be able to be cheaply improved on and you can get more people to your website. Now, ideally, you want to track your changes, and we're going to discuss this more to really fine tune what works and what doesn't work, but crappy content is never a good idea. I mean, whether it improves your conversion, it may or may not, but crappy content just makes you look unprofessional. When you make these changes and improvements, ideally you're going to set up some A/B testing so you can see what works and what doesn't work. So you try one thing and it's improvement, or it's not. And if it's not, you try something else. If it is an improvement, well, make another improvement and keep on making improvements, tracking these changes so you can really make the most out of the material, your website content, your email blast, whatever it is. One of the biggest benefits of using websites for marketing instead of a static yellow page or newspaper ad like in the good old days is that you can change it any way you want, virtually any time you want. You can make changes and decide if it improves the response that you're getting. And if it is getting a good response, then keep up with it. If it's not getting a good response, go in a different direction. Ideally, you just make one change at a time. It could be the words, it could be graphics or photos, could be the process by which you're using to connect with potential clients. Now, if you make more than one change at a time, it's going to be hard to figure out what exactly is better. So it is, ideally you're going to want to set up some kind of scientific process to figure this out through an A/B testing scheme. But like I said before, lousy content doesn't do you any good. So it's always a good idea to get rid of it, whether you're doing A/B testing or not. You could make improvements that have nothing to do with the content of the web page. You could just make it easier to read. Are you allowing enough white space to make it easy for the average person to read? Are you just piling up text on top of each other? Does your color scheme make sense? What's the color of the text versus the color of the background? Now, many law firms, especially if you're in the personal injury business or in estate planning, a lot of your clients are going to be older or have disabilities or both. And if your firm is seeking these people as clients, you need to make your website accessible. Make it easy for those who you want to be your customers to become your customers. There are many ways you can improve your content, but overall, in my opinion, the bottom line is, does your website content inspire trust? Potential clients aren't going to become clients unless they trust your law firm, your attorneys. So you need to change your content to inspire as much trust as possible. Do you discuss the knowledge and the background and the education of the attorneys at your firm in a way that's compelling, that's interesting, that's going to make the reader kind of sit back and say, maybe that's the person for me. Maybe that's the right guy for my case. And another useful way is through case studies. Inspire that trust by showing how your clients have benefited from your services. And you can also maybe show how your services, your approach is unique and why they don't need to look at other law firm websites because they really like your approach and they're really amazed at the benefits that your clients are getting. More improvements could be testimonials from current or past clients, though those testimonials are limited by your local rules of professional conduct. You can still get some mileage out of them, even if they are limited. You could also use testimonials from attorneys or other professionals who refer clients to your firm. And that's mostly because they trust your firm. They trust your attorneys. They're happy with how their clients have been treated by you. Blogs and articles are another way to show that attorneys are trustworthy, that they should handle somebody's case because they demonstrate that these attorneys are up on the latest legal developments and they understand the issues that their clients are dealing with. Potential improvements aren't just things that you can add, but also things that maybe you should take away. Is your content too wordy? Is it poorly written? Can it be written in a way that's much more concise and readable? Is it so lengthy that nobody's really going to read it? I know longer pieces are seen as better for SEO purposes, and it may help you in that department, but is it really being read? Is it doing you any good in other areas? Another problem is, are the pieces that you have, are they written at too high a level given your potential clients? If they're not generally, PhD candidates, then you don't want to write your content for PhD candidates. You want to essentially write material for someone with a high school education. On the other hand, your material may be written for potential referral sources, and you don't want to dumb it down. You want to be a little more sophisticated. Other things that are worth subtracting are things that need to reflect the fact that most people don't read website pages, they scan them. So go through your content and see how many paragraphs you can turn into bullet points or numbered lists, because that's going to attract the eye of a person scanning your web page and not reading it. Can you boil down your content to its essentials? Can you create some FAQs so people will just look at frequently asked questions, because they might have one of those questions and maybe they will target that particular question, and it's an opportunity to potentially really impress that website visitor. To maybe that person really will read the whole page after reading this great answer to this frequently asked question. There are important other changes that you can make to improve your optimization. Now, the law and legal issues really can be dry and boring, because I know that firsthand, having practiced law for 16 years. And if you create website content that's dry and uninspiring and boring, you're not going to convert many people, because they're just going to find another website to read. When I try to make legal issues more interesting, more compelling, you use the facts of a particular court decision, you can use news articles, or you can come up with good hypotheticals to bring these issues to life. You make them real, tangible problems that people need to solve. And you need to do this in a way that, there's a good test if you're creating a press release, and that is, why should anyone care? If you want to write a press release, you can't just blow your own horn. You've got to establish why this press release, this information, should be published. And you do that by showing why people are going to care. So you need to write content so puts the reader in the shoes of those people involved in these legal issues, and they feel their pain. These are a couple ways to make legal issues more interesting. I write a lot of personal injury material, and this first example is from my personal life in a car accident that I was involved with an elderly diabetic gentleman. Now, he lived in a rural area, and driving was essentially the only way he could get around. So, create the characters, create the conflict, make this issue more interesting. I also have written a lot of content for an attorney who represents small businesses, and a lot of people call him because they've gotten into trouble because they've signed contracts that they haven't fully read, and they really don't understand them, but for whatever reason, they just signed them because, as a small business owner, they needed the income. They wanted to be busy and do their thing. But as a result, they're in trouble because things have gone south. They don't have a lot of legal protections because they signed on the bottom line. Another way to improve your optimization is to look at the process and how your website is set up, and how difficult or how easy it is to navigate and for a visitor to use. And you need to put yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't know much about the law, who's never seen your website before. Maybe they've had no reason to contact an attorney or do anything really serious online. So you need to really look at your website. Is it organized in a way that makes sense? Is it confusing? can the average person easily get what they want from your website? I mean, I've been writing content for about 7 years. I am on websites all the time. And some of the websites that I've written content for confuse me. I can't figure out how to get some information that I know is on this website, but the way it's set up is just so terrible that I can't find it. And you need to make your website really simple, really easy, because if this takes any kind of effort by your website visitor, you're going to lose them. You're not going to convert them to a client because they're going to be gone. They're going to be on your competitor's website. And if that's easier to work with, that's the website that they're going to stay on. I hope you found this PowerPoint helpful, and I hope it gives you some ideas that might result in you getting more clients and making your website more efficient. This is one of the number of PowerPoints that I've done, so maybe you'll find another one that also can help you. If I can help you with your content, please let me know. Once again, my name is Rodney Warner, and you can email me at writerforhire@outlook.com. Thank you again for your time, and I appreciate you coming to this PowerPoint.